Now, South Africa and the People's Republic of China have launched a high-level people-to-people exchange mechanism in Pretoria. The South African delegation is led by Minister of Arts and Culture, Nathi Mthethwa. The purpose of the exchange mechanism is to deepen mutual understanding between the people of South Africa and China and to enhance people-to-people exchanges. Our reporter, Kemo Bosielo, is attending the launch in Pretoria. She joins us live. Kemo, good afternoon. Give us an update of what's happened so far.
This is the first meeting of the South Africa-China high-level people-to-people exchange mechanism. The meeting or the launch has formally concluded for the day. All the delegates have headed to Sheraton Hotel right here in Pretoria to take place in plenary session, to participate in plenary sessions and to participate in workshops of the different ministries. So you will have a workshop in the Department of Arts and Culture, and education and communications and so forth. This is, of course, a meeting that takes place for the next 3 days, right up until Wednesday. But to help you understand the beauty of what we call people-to-people exchanges and what we mean by that, I'm joined by Kemo Bosielo. Kemo is a master's degree graduate, and he graduated in a university in China, and a university, I believe, that the Prime Minister of China attended when he was a young man, I believe, and he will tell us about the benefits of having these kind of cooperations between two countries. He studied there, he lived there for 3 years, and he is a homeboy. He is a South African homeboy. We'll find out from him exactly how China was and what he's learned from there. Kemo, thank you so much for making time to speak to us. Firstly, why China?
Many reasons. As a political science graduate, for me, the decision was quite an easy one. I mean, China is Africa's largest trade partner. Closer to home, China, since 2009, is South Africa's largest trade partner as well. And of course, it's the second largest economy in the world. So from someone wanting to know more about South Africa and its position in the world, China seemed like the perfect place to start.
And someone sitting at home might say, actually, I would like to go and study in China as well. I heard you speak fluent. Is it Mandarin?
It is Mandarin. I would not say fluent, but I get by comfortably.
Oh, well, it sounded fluent to all of us. Someone who is sitting at home, how do you encourage someone who has plans to study international relations and do his master's there and has no idea where to start? Where did you start and how do they start?
I think as young South Africans, we're quite fortunate in a moment like this. Institutions such as the Department of Higher Education and Training offer full scholarships to students from bachelor's, from undergrad, all the way to PhD. The opportunity to study in China, completely funded by the government in collaboration with the Chinese government. So I had everything from my flight to China paid for, to my tuition, to stipend. And so for a young South African, the opportunities really are endless.
How was life in China for you? Was it a culture shock when you got there? How much did you have to adjust as a Mzansi boy?
A complete culture shock. Living in China is an experience that takes all preconceived notions you have of the world and flips them completely upside down. So it was a massive culture shock, but one that I enjoyed thoroughly. I think if you're open to immersing yourself in Chinese culture, learning the language, learning about Chinese way of life, learning a bit about their history and how they came to be the powerhouse they are today, then it can be a really fruitful experience.
Years later, you've completed your master's. You now work for Huawei Technologies. You're an account manager there. How would you say your experience of knowing how the Chinese do things, how has it helped you back home?
I think it's definitely helped me a lot. Going to China, studying there, living there for 3 years, and then coming back and working for a Chinese company in South Africa, I feel like I've come full circle. But working for a Chinese company in South Africa is still working for a Chinese company. So I think the 3 years I spent there really helped me in terms of understanding Chinese work practices, Chinese social interactions, and how the Chinese like to go about things. Because it is quite a steep learning curve, there are quite a lot of differences, I think.
When you look at the tourism landscape in South Africa, you can clearly see a lot of Chinese people or people from Asia coming to South Africa to enjoy our tourism sector. Do you think that we offer them the best in Africa?
For sure, without a doubt. And I think South Africa stretches a lot further than we think. When I was in China, often you get into a cab and a Chinese cab driver asks you where you're from. You say South Africa. The first thing that comes out of his mouth is, Mandela. The sort of image and the legend that is South Africa, I think, stretches further than we know here. And so a lot of Chinese people rather are really interested in coming here, seeing what this country that they've heard so much about actually entails.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to speak to us. It's been very insightful to hear your views of what China has to offer and the benefits of meetings such as this for South Africans. Thank you.
You are most welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you. Well, Nzinga, that is Kemo Bosielo. He studied in China for 3 years. He's got a master's in international business relations. He now works for Huawei Technologies. And he says he embraced the Chinese way of living. He loved being there, changed his life, and would encourage a lot of South African students who are looking to broaden their horizons to look that way. And perhaps, who knows, they might just end up like him.
Kemo Bosielo coming to us live there from Pretoria. Thanks so much for the update.